Students and 2 teachers were killed in a horrific shooting massacre. Many parents right now feeling uneasy about school in general, about sending their kids away to any campus, not just in Texas, but across the country. There are at least 8 characteristics that school shooters have in common, according to experts, and parents say, and parents should know what red flags to look out for, certainly school administrators and staff as well. So joining us to talk a little bit more about some of these well-known red flags is Donna Bartos, who is the founder and CEO of Bloom365.org, a local organization with a global impact working to prevent violence on campuses all across the country, violence of all types. So Donna, thank you so much for joining us and for the work that you're doing. I guess, you know, we always seem to see that when this happens, things should have been noticed ahead of time, right? So what should we be on the lookout for proactively?
Well, thank you for having me. Before I answer that question, it's important to set the foundation about what violence is. And it's a social disease of power and control. It's not about anger. It's not about mental health conditions. So how do we spot those signs of power and control early, especially in young people?
Okay.
So there are root causes, risk factors, red flags, and then common threads. So I'll share the common threads.
Okay.
Because we'll be here all day if we go through all of it. So a few of the common threads, the most obvious is that 98% of school shooters are male.
Yes.
So we can go through the dynamics of why that is, but go back to culture and go back to a culture of toxicity and masculinity. Most have experienced domestic violence, and many have killed an intimate partner or a family member in a part of that mass shooting or before that mass shooting.
And we just saw that play out in Texas, and it was so reminiscent of the Sandy Hook tragedy of an attack at the home, and then moving towards targeting the most vulnerable, our children.
That's right. In addition to that, many are suicidal, have thoughts of suicide and contemplating suicide. Most have experienced adverse childhood experiences, which are traumatic events in childhood. There's a list of 10. Most have experienced 4 or more of those experiences.
Oh, okay.
Many, especially in recent years, communicate the threat online, taking pictures of the firearms that they're going to use, their intent to do harm. All have access to a firearm. In addition to that, many feel powerless. So if they feel powerless, the way to inflict power and gain that control is through violence. And the majority of them, in most of these cases, had some kind of an event, a stressor, a life event within 5 years. Maybe it's the breakup of a relationship, the loss of a parent, divorce, instability, loss of a job. So those are the common threads among these mass shooters.
So this seems to be a pretty clear metric. Why is this so underutilized to be able to identify risks before action is taken?
Well, I think sometimes politics gets in the way of these progressive type of solutions. I believe, and at Bloom365, we believe that one of the solutions that is most underutilized is screening and intervening early and often with young people in schools. If you think back to your school years, did you have your vision checked? Did you have your hearing checked? When I was a kid, they checked my spine to see if I had scoliosis. So we're looking at risks for health disease, but we're not looking at comprehensively risks for this social disease. So I believe that in every school at age-appropriate times, we need to screen kids. Do they exhibit or have any of these long list of risk factors? Do they exhibit any of the red flag behaviors? Are they bullied? Are they bullying? Are they having poor academic performance? Are they socially isolated? Do they not have good friend groups? A number of things that we can do to address these issues early on and determine what kind of intervention does this young person need now.
And unfortunately, though, there is a lack of crossover in terms of maybe knowing what's going on inside a household as well, because you talk about violence within a household or exhibiting some traumatic situations at home. Say school administrators or people in the public may not know that those factors are also playing a huge role.
That's right. That's right. And that's where, again, comprehensive solutions have to happen. This isn't just up to parents and caregivers to solve. It's not just up to law enforcement to solve or to government to solve or schools to solve. It's going to take all of us to agree these are the risk factors, these are the red flag behaviors. Now together, how do we wrap our arms around these kids that are at risk for these violent behaviors now and later in life and intervene early to help save lives later on?
Oh, it is such a painful topic to discuss, and I wish we had more time. But then, Donna, thank you so much for your insight today and for the resources, and we'll make sure that your website is on ours as well, because I know that this is a topic of concern for all parents, myself included, so thank you.
Thank you. And there's a toolkit on our website for anybody that wants to download it on the home page with all this information in it.
And that is Bloom365.
Bloom365.org.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Check in with Gina now for a look at the traffic.
Great conversation, ladies. It's 7:45.